The Outdoor Show. It's the program that puts you into the peaceful and beautiful home of Mother Nature. It moves you back to that calm fishing pond up north, one step away from Lake Michigan, or into your hunting blind on a brisk fall morning. The Outdoor Show. It's a peaceful program. This is not your mother's outdoor show. This is the WHTC Outdoor Show, hosted by a guy who literally has hunting in his name. Tom Middendorp is Dutch for Village in the Maiden, or King's Hunting Ground. Your co-host, sometimes, is Tim Becker of Powderhorn Guns and Archery. It's time for what really happens when the guys go up north on that hunting trip. It's time for the WHTC Outdoor Show, presented by My Firearms ETS. That's MI Firearms ETS on 1450 WHTC, Holland's news leader.
Good morning. Welcome to the Outdoor Show. I'm Tom Middendorp. My sometimes co-host Tim is, well, he's sometimes again. And I'm here with Terry Borman from the Farmers Co-op over in Hudsonville.
Good morning.
3302 Prospect Street, right?
Right.
Prospect.
Right.
Street. I can't think if it's Avenue or Street now.
Yep. Street. I think it's street.
3302
Close
Prospect.
to the post office.
We'll just go with that, right?
Right.
3302 Prospect, and we'll call it good. Anyway, it is street. I just looked at my thing.
Cheat sheet.
So, what's up with all the rain, Terry?
Well, they say we need it, and I would agree with that. But boy, it seems like an awful lot this morning. The puddles were big time coming down here.
Who's they?
Weather forecasters. I'm looking at one. No, she doesn't. She didn't say we need a lot of it. But.
She didn't. But the rain, of course, it brings those tulips and those tourists.
Tourist tulips.
The tourists and the tulips,
Yep.
and they're. We got one parade left today.
Right. Yeah, the big one, the band parade. Correct. Yeah.
Yes, the big, and they're going to do it rain or shine, right?
Usually they do, unless it's really pouring. But I think the weather forecast is it clears off this afternoon. And
Yep, it's, the parade is at 2:30, and it's supposed to clear up by, like, noon.
yeah, this is Michigan. It changes all the time. They're used
That's very true.
For our tourist friends listening, it's like, hang in there. It'll be all right.
It'll be okay.
I'm not going to give you my phone number or home address or anything.
That's okay. I'll hand it out for you.
Okay, yeah, thanks.
But, you think about the tulips and stuff coming up, and it makes me start to think about different things that we can do in the summertime.
Right.
Now, I don't mind fishing in the rain, but if it's really coming down and the bilge pump just keeps on running, it's really no fun.
No, it is not. No.
And there's a lot of things you don't like to do in the rain.
Right.
But there are things you can do in the rain.
Stay inside.
Stay inside. But also things that are benefited by the rain. And I'm thinking about, summertime and different things that fall hunters would do during the summer or during the summer months. What would fall hunters do? Well, we've done a lot of scouting and different things like that. But one of the things that was always fun to do was to work on food plotting.
Right. Yeah, get things ready.
Well, yeah, drive the tractor. Excuse me. The food plotting, are we behind on planting for food plots? Are we ahead if we do it now? Where are we sitting with the season as it stands for getting food plots in?
Well, I think it depends where you are located, for one thing. I mean, there's always that difference between us and Cadillac and the UP as far as planting season.
Mm-hmm.
So you kind of follow the farmer's lead. They're out there right now getting the corn in the ground. So you say, okay, it's time for me to either start thinking about it or get going on it, especially if you're a little bit further north, then a couple weeks time frame can make a difference. But, your frost seeding is done, so your clover frost seeding is done, and now we're concentrating on what's next. What do you want to put in? So this is a good time to have figured out what you're going to do, to get your seed ready, get your soil tested to see if that's ready to roll, and then get your things lined up and get going.
So in between fishing trips,
Yeah. Yeah.
I should be looking at what to plant.
Or on the way to the fishing trips.
Well, it's funny you say that because you could throw it along the roadside there on the way to the fishing trip, right?
Yeah, yeah.
But that's not going to do us much good. I'm kind of curious about the farmers. They're out there planting right now. Mm-hmm. Now, I know they use the weed killer along the edges on a lot of the fields and stuff. Once they've done the weed killer along the edges after they do their planting thing or whatever scenario might play out for each farmer, if you have permission from a farmer, does it work to do seed along the edges of the fields? They have corn to eat. So.
Right, yeah. There are some farmers that you can do like clover along the field edges, or if you're going to do your grasses, a lot of guys want to do some, screening. So you're going to do some taller grasses, and that might be between fields or along fence rows or something like that. You're going to put some of your taller grasses in now. You want those to start growing. To sow in between the corn rows is probably a little tough because it's going to get shaded out. But
oh yeah, not in the corn rows.
No, but on your edges, yeah. If you've got permission, good time to do it.
So we can talk a little later about that. What to put there so that we can get some attractants and so on. But I'm just thinking about getting that seed done. You've also got equipment for people to get seeding done or food plotting done.
Right. Yep. We've got some towable. Get your ATV, and we've got a disc and color packer, a little unit that pulls real nice behind in the ATV, and we've got a large spreader and a chain drag. That gets the seed to soil contact, and that works nice. That's fun to watch.
The chain drag.
The whole thing.
Or the whole thing.
Yeah.
Doing everything.
Yep.
Do you have the ATV, UTV?
No.
No.
I don't.
It's just the implements to put to that.
Right. Yep. We've got a trailer. You can come down and rent it all and pull it to your site. And
you got the truck to do that too?
I have a truck, but yeah. What's for lunch? Let's go.
Well, so they can rent you?
Well, that's a thought.
Do you do any fishing or anything?
A little bit of fishing, yeah. I don't get out as much as I probably should, and my grandkids are getting a little bit older now, and we go to the cottage. They want to go drown some worms, and I'm pretty good at that.
You're good at drowning worms?
Yeah.
I usually do a feeding frenzy. I feed them, and they never grab hold of the hook. They always take the worms.
I haven't quite figured that out yet, but.
No, I was just thinking about all the different things for summer. We got fishing going on, but then we got hunters are doing scouting activities for summertime. They're doing all these different things, and I'm thinking that it would be great to get food plotting going on. Mm-hmm. But there's so many. A lot of folks will say, "Well, I don't have any property." Yep. Well, you have the rights to hunt property, or you have permission to hunt property. You could always ask about things to enhance that property if you're not destroying anything. So those are kind of the things that I was thinking about and just kind of curious about.
Sure.
With regard to the seeds and so on. So I think, we can talk about that. But I'm really interested in the program you brought me this morning.
Yeah. Cross beams. It's kind of interesting program.
Tell me more about that, because all I have here, Jim Nora, crossbeam, and then there's the trifold that has much more information in it, of course.
Well, it's a gentleman that comes to us and buys seed, and I think it's a neat program. And he works with kids. He has mentors, and then he has some kids, disadvantaged kids, underprivileged kids that he works with, and they have some land that they can use, and these kids get involved in the whole gambit, I'll call it, of scouting the land, picking out where they want to hunt, helping to prepare the soil, and then planting the seed, watching it grow, and then they get to pick out what they want to put in their plot too, which I think is kind of neat. They're doing the research on it. They're picking out.
Really?
Yep, and then they pick out the seed they want to put in place. And then they get trail camera setups, and they're checking the cards, and then during hunting season they get to hunt that piece of property that they've prepared. And it's a faith-based organization, and so he ties it all back to finding God in nature. And I just think it's kind of a neat program.
It definitely, he's out of Alto, it looks like.
Yeah.
Is his address.
Yeah.
I don't know where the properties are according to the pamphlet. Do you know where any of the properties are?
I
There's some
don't
close
know.
by.
They're on the other side of Grand Rapids. I don't know just the areas, but he's got a number of different camps, base camps that he works out of for these kids. So.
It's ages 9 to 14.
Yep.
He's got, you can apply to participate. You can also apply to volunteer.
Right.
And
Yep.
pass on your passion.
Right.
It's a nonprofit charitable organization that requires donations to run the entire program, which we know that's not easy.
No. No.
And then he's got some different things here: explore, engage, and trust. Crossbeam values: faith, focus, follow through, friendship, and future. And there's just different little descriptions in here. Do you have more of these pamphlets at the store?
I don't. He was just in, and I asked him for some more information on it. And I was hoping to have him at our expo, and that didn't work out. So perhaps next year we'll get him down there. But just an interesting program rather than... And I love these guys who take kids hunting. I have no problem with that. But I think here's an opportunity for these kids to learn a whole lot, preparing to hunt, and then to go hunting on the land. It's got to create a lot of excitement for them as well. And I just think it's a neat program. That's
yeah, well, when you got kids don't get an opportunity to do these things,
right.
They never experience them, it's kind of tough to just explain it to them.
Right.
And
right.
I really love one of the pictures he's got here with a caption on it: kids don't remember their best day of television.
Yeah. Isn't that the truth?
It's definitely the truth. I mean, kids are going to remember being out in the out in nature much more than they're going to remember anything to do with a television program.
Right.
So,
yep. And you can imagine when these kids have prepared the field and then plant the seed, and then to watch that seed come out of the ground. I mean, that's got to be exciting.
Well, yeah, if they've never done anything like that before,
right?
To see that happen and
right.
just understand what's happening,
yep.
what's going on, that's got to be incredible for them.
Yep.
But we've been talking about planting food plots and getting things to grow. What other things grow when the grass, or when the I did give it away.
Give it away.
When the rain comes down, what grows? The grass does, right?
Yeah.
Well, if your grass is growing out of control and you need a lawnmower, you need a weed whacker, you need anything to do landscaping or to do tree trimming around the house or anything like that, you got to get on down to Westenbrook Mower.
There you go.
It's where they service what they sell. All units are ready to use when they leave the store, and Westenbrook submits your warranty information so you don't have to. Stop into the Holland or the Genesis store, check them out on your computer at westenbrookmower.com, or call them at 616-396-5733. Lines are open. Give us a call, 395-1450. We'll be back here shortly on The Outdoor Show. Welcome back to The Outdoor Show, brought to you by Michigan Firearms, your personal protection and concealed carry specialists. We're back ready to talk with you. I'm here with Terry Borman of the Farmers Co-op in Hudsonville, 3302 Prospect Street. And we're talking about food plots and different activities for summertime for hunters, fall hunters, summertime activities. Mm-hmm. It's tough sometimes because you got to mow that grass, but we know where we can get good equipment to cut that grass down. We
right.
can on over there to Westenbrook Mower and take care of it. But over at the Farmers Co-op, we typically think Farmers Co-op, they're taking the corn in, they're handing the corn seed out. But when you think of Farmers Co-op, you got to think about equipment, gear, clothing, utility type stuff. I mean, you guys carry all the different boots, the gloves, all the different things right there in the store, right?
Right. We carry the muck boot is our main line. If you're familiar with a muck boot, they make great outdoor boots.
Love muck boots.
Yes. Then we have some, I'll call it more of a farm boot, just a straight rubber boot, those type of things. But if you want a good hunting boot, the muck boot is a great boot. It's good for cold, good in the water.
Well, they got all those different levels.
Yeah.
with
Right.
the muck boots. So you can get them so they're not insulated ones, the regular just mucks.
Right.
And they're comfortable and they last.
Oh, yeah. Yep, they're great.
You can use those in the mud all summer long
Yep.
or while you're planting your food plot.
There you go.
But I got some of the Arctic something.
Arctic Sport or Arctic Pro?
Arctic Pro.
Ooh, you went for the deep cold.
Yes. Wow. When I got them, with friends of ours, we went up snowmobiling, and of course they brought extra snowmobiles because we used to snowmobile. We don't anymore, but then we do.
Yeah.
We went.
I see
we
how
were
you
up. We were up by Houghton Lake, and we were in Merritt. You know where Merritt's
Right.
just before you get to Houghton Lake, coming from here. Anyway, I had good boots, but we got up there, and it didn't affect me boots wise. But we got up there. It was gloves wise. It affected me really. It was, I believe, 8 degrees at the heat of the day, and the wind. The wind was absolutely atrocious. So when we went snowmobiling, you had the wind of the snowmobile as you speed you're going, but then you had the crosswind that was coming across. I ended up with frostbite on a spot on my neck because of a gap in my scarf and stuff, but I also got it on my finger through my glove.
Sure.
And I'm glad I didn't get it on my toes because I had my Arctic Pros.
Yeah, they're great boots. They're like -60 is their
I wear them in the wintertime. They are just absolutely
yeah,
awesome.
toasty warm.
Oh, toasty warm. And,
Yeah.
you have other good or quality stuff there at the store that
Yep.
people can get.
Gloves, lots of gloves,
Yep.
different types, and some burn apparel, kind of like your Carhartt brand, that type of thing. We have
Okay.
some of that.
Okay. What is that called?
Burn.
Burn? B-U-R-N, Burn?
B-E-R-N-E.
B-E-R-N-E.
Yep.
Burn apparel.
Yep.
And that's tough and rugged like Carhartt?
Right.
Nice.
Right. Yep.
Nice.
Some good sweatshirts.
Are we advertising Burn or the other guys?
Both.
The
Yeah, our focus at the co-op is probably about anything and everything you can use around the house. We have the grass seed, and we have the fertilizer, and the bird seed, and the lawn things to take care of chemicals. We have some organic feeds for your chickens, and we have regular chicken feed. So we kind of cover everything over there.
So we got stuff for folks to work on their yard.
Yep.
That's a summertime activity for a fall hunter, I'll tell you, because they got to get it done.
Right. Right.
When the fall comes, you just want to be able to, cut it quick, get it done, and get out
Yep.
there. The, fishermen, I prefer just let the weeds grow. That way I have grasshoppers and crickets. And,
Oh, I see. Ulterior motive here.
well, yeah. I got a patch in the back. If I just let it go, I get all kinds of grasshoppers and crickets and everything else
Really?
in there that I can just walk through there and pick them out.
Okay.
So
You got a worm farm too?
No, I don't. I do have areas that are, because they're still tore up from last summer when I tore up the yard. And the worms, if I, go over there and pick up a rock, there's worms underneath them.
Okay. Okay.
It'd be kind of neat to have worms.
Yeah.
I watched I don't even remember what it was on. Maybe it was on PBS or something. These guys would go out and they'd rub these, whatever they made, they'd rub it against a stump in a swamp. And it would cause a vibration. It would make all the worms just come up to the top.
Really?
They'd walk around and just pick up a bucket full of worms.
No kidding.
I thought that was pretty cool. I thought,
Yeah.
that's pretty neat.
I got to find me a stump and a stick.
Yeah, stump and a stick. Start getting them worms come up to the top. I prefer the old extension cord separations technique. I won't explain that too much, but because
Yeah.
somebody might try it. Don't
Yeah.
try this at home unless you know what you're doing.
No, that's not a good thing.
And then they all just come up to the top.
Yeah.
And say, hey, pick them up.
Yep.
Unplug the cord first.
Yeah. Yeah, that's
So-
dangerous.
But now, with the, we were talking about the food plots and everything else. We're talking about what's out over at the co-op.
Yep.
It's curious to me because a lot of people don't realize what's at the co-op.
Yep.
You
I
when
always say
think
if you
about-
can't find it in our little store, it's probably not made. But yeah, we cover everything: dog food and cat food and chicken and you
Which
name it, it's there.
Gives people good reason to come on down to 3302 Prospect Street and check it out.
Yep, exactly.
Will they see you there, or are you running around selling stuff?
No, I'm there. I'm in the warehouse quite often. Load their car for them, but at the counter on occasion.
So they come in and they can say, "I want to see Terry.
Yep.
I heard him on the radio. I want to know what he looks like."
They'll track. Yeah, I got a face for radio. They'll track me down.
This happens. So, anyway, folks, if you got to have anything for your yard, you got to take care of the pets, you got to have some new boots or have some new gear to wear to get out there and work on stuff out in the yard for the summertime, get on over to the Farmers Co-op Elevator in Hudsonville. It's your food plot headquarters. They have over 40 different seed varieties to choose from. They provide in-house soil testing as well as fertilizers, lime, and equipment to plant, maintain, and get maximum performance out of your food plot or your yard project. Visit Farmers Co-op at 3302 Prospect Street in Hudsonville. And if you want a complete list of products and services, check them out online at fcelevator.com. Lines are open. Give us a call, 395-1450. We'll be back here shortly on the Outdoor Show. Welcome back to the Outdoor Show, brought to you by Powderhorn Guns and Archery for all your arrow knocking, gun cocking, fish hooking, flag waving, stand up and sing God Bless America hunting and fishing needs. Lines are open. Give us a call, 395-1450. We're back ready to answer your questions right here on the Outdoor Show. Whew! That's
okay?
always a full breath.
Is that why the oxygen thing falls from the ceiling to grab the the mask?
In case I can't make it all the way to the end. Got to grab that mask and reboot. Anyhow, I'm talking with Terry Borman from the Farmers Co-op over in Hudsonville. And we're talking about food plotting, but we also mentioned the fact that over at Farmers Co-op we can get anything we need for our yard.
Right.
Now, I was just thinking about that. The equipment that you can rent to do a food plot.
Right.
You could rent that equipment to redo your yard.
You got a pretty good yard if you can. Now, this is pretty good sized stuff, so I don't think you'd want to. We rent small fertilizer spreaders, but this stuff is pretty big. But yeah, if you had a couple acre yard, you'd probably like this for getting it prepped.
Yeah. I don't think about packed in housing because I don't live where there's packed in housing.
Right.
So I always think about the 2 acre
yard.
yard.
For your yard, get it through your gate where the guard is for your estate.
Well, yeah, you got to get past the guards.
Are the guards there to keep you in or to keep everybody else out?
My one guard, he keeps everybody out.
There's a four-legged guard.
Yeah.
I think I visited your house once when he was out. I think I stayed in the truck.
He just looks mean. Not true. He is. No. All depends on who's listening at the time.
Yeah, that's right. And I'm not giving my address out either.
Nope.
No, we do have rental on equipment for food plotting. You can pick up the whole trailer and haul it away, or if you just need a fertilizer spreader or the disc calipacker mix, sod buster as I call it.
The sod buster.
Sod buster. And then the harrow rake is like that chain drag rake. That
Right.
Yep. So
now,
yeah, that's all available.
So earlier I mentioned getting along the farm fields. I know we got the equipment that we can get in there and plant things. But now if we're along the farm fields and we're looking at areas where the deer would travel, in those sections, can we do like a no-till seed? A seed that'll blend in with whatever's there also?
Yeah, you could.
What kind of things would we want to plant along there that would attract the deer to follow that path for their browsing activities?
Probably some clover would be good. Okay. Some chicory in that area, something that they can travel on and feed off from. Some of your grasses.
I was going to say ryegrass. Does rye attract them at all?
Yeah, rye is, a lot of folks put that in the fall especially. Oats right now wouldn't be a bad one to put down.
Oats in the spring.
Yep. Oats,
get them going that direction.
They're a little better with heat than what, oats. Hang on a minute. It'll come back to me. Wheat.
Aren't we a
wheat?
pair?
Yeah. Wheat is, oats are better right now than what wheat is. Wheat's not real good in the heat. Heat is more in the, wheat's more in the fall time frame.
Well, I know we used to throw down rye in the fall when we were food plotting, but I also had this area that I had extra rye.
Sure.
So I just planted this area just to green it up because it was all bare and it was near the creek and I didn't want it to all wash.
Right.
So I planted that rye, and the deer were there continually.
Yep.
They just always would come to that spot, and I thought, well, maybe it's just because it's a nice green spot. Maybe it has nothing to do with rye.
Well, it's a grass. It's a grassy leaf, so they're going to like that.
Does it fit their dietary needs at this
Sure.
time of the year, or does
Sure.
it fit just in the fall?
Nope, anytime. They're they like grasses and clovers, and I have what we call a tetra rye. It's a perennial rye. It's a grazing rye, and they put it into mixes for horses and pastures.
Okay.
And so you can munch it down, cut it down, and then it just grows back up again. So that's a nice one to put out there this time of year. Put some alfalfa. That's another one. So if you mix some alfalfa and clover and rye seed together, it acts as that barrier between waterways. If you're concerned about that, you want to keep that, and it also will be an attractant because that grows up and that's stuff the deer will like to eat.
So that'd be a nice, when you talk about protect the waterways, the green space between.
Right.
So the space that's remaining after the corn's planted and so on,
Yep.
that's not going to spread and bother the corn at all.
No.
So you could put that in that space, the green space between the waterways,
Right.
Like along the river, the creek, the river, whatever.
Yep.
You get the corn in there, and then you got that space.
Yep.
So you go along there and you put that stuff down.
Sure. And,
Okay.
close to the woods, sometimes when they make that pass, but they don't get the corn in there because it's going to be too close. So you've got 6, 8, 10 foot where they can't,
Yes, yep.
where the corn isn't sown. You put something like that. That's a nice area to have green. It acts as that barrier. It's a place for them to feed as well.
Okay.
And we also, we talked a little bit during the break. Food plotting is not just for deer. There's a lot of other ones that you can food plot for.
Well, that's what I was wondering. We talked about waterfowl.
Yep.
A little bit about waterfowl.
That's a tough one, but they like waters, obviously, waterfowl, the creeks and ponds and that stuff. So there's like millets to put in. You can do some corn. They love corn. So if you've got a big enough area, put some corn out there, plant some corn. The millets, some of your grasses along the waterways, it gives them protection as well as the seeds drop off into the water, which they then like to eat.
So those grasses, plant those in for the deer, but then we can also have those there for the ducks and the geese.
Right.
And I'm thinking, picture behind me. You got the river flowing through there. You got the other creek, the other ditch coming down, which they all have water in them year round.
Right.
But the main where the river is, the ducks are in there all the time.
Right.
So there's just not a lot of them. So to attract more those green spaces, if those green spaces had these the millets and the rye in there and stuff like that that you're speaking of, would that, you think, attract more ducks because there's more space to protect themselves?
Perhaps. That's always, and buckwheat is another one. It's an annual, but that drops a seed, has seeds for them to eat. So, if they've got food, they're liable to stick around and stay there or come back to it.
Okay.
And ducks and geese always come back to where they're born. They come back to nest. So
if we get more of them to head that way for nesting,
right.
then they come back.
Yep.
I'm just thinking of productivity.
Yeah. Yep.
in the fall.
Yeah, exactly.
So that, but not only that, we've had a lot of discussions on this show about turkey hunting and stuff and habitat for turkey hunting. Can we provide areas of growth when we find areas that would work for roosting trees and other things? Can we provide food for them through food plotting as well?
Yep. Your buckwheat is a very popular one for that because it has that seed. Some of your clovers because it attracts bugs.
So that area in the backyard that I don't want to mow because I want to get my grasshoppers.
Tell your wife you're going to do an experiment.
I want to see if
some research. I have to do some research. We'll put some buckwheat and some.
That would be fun.
Yeah.
It actually would be fun to do some research like that, but you got to have funding to do all that research and everything else. And
she's not willing to fund that?
Yeah. No.
Okay.
I wish I could get her to fund a lot of things that I want to do research-wise.
It doesn't work that way sometimes. But I, a lot of food plotting, and I tell guys that come in, a lot of it is experimenting to see what's going to attract whatever particular game animal you're going after in that area. Because I have guys who put radish in, and these are big radishes, not the kind we put on our salads. Big radishes, which are good for the ground.
What kind of radish would it be?
It's an oil seed or groundhog radish, they call it. And it's becoming a popular cover crop in the fall around here after the wheat is harvested.
Okay.
But they get to be 12, 13 inches in the ground, and then they send down a taproot, which breaks up the ground, so it aerates the ground. And then when the frost comes, it freezes, disintegrates, and then the green disintegrates, and it's called green manure.
So you don't harvest this, do anything, you just leave it?
Leave it. And the deer will eat the tops off it. And I have one guy who says they just destroy my field because they're going after the radish.
Really?
Yep. So it's a different one. So you mix different things together or stripe it with different things to see which one attracts them in your area, or set it up on different time frames.
Okay.
The clover is quick to grow, and your rye, and then the last thing you want is like your brassicas, which are going to be a little bit later. You may want to put those in the center. So you can do a variety of things. And some guys just take 2 acres and they put the same thing down every year and they harvest deer. So, but then a lot of times it's like, try some of this.
Don't tell me about those guys.
Yeah, I know. But, it's like experiment a little bit, because some guys, I'm not having a success on this end of the field, or this isn't working out. Try some. Buy a pound of radish seed and throw that out there. See what happens. See what goes on with that. And so it's kind of, experimenting, researching, as you'd say.
I like researching.
Yeah.
I mean, I actually do. It's a lot of fun to figure out what's actually going on. I mean, that's the thrill of the hunt is more important to me than the harvest.
Well, I have one guy who comes in and he says, this is the best season right now. And I'm going, you can't, there's hardly anything to hunt right now. He says, no, it's food plot season. He says, I love to put my food plots in and get the land tilled and ready to go, and put the food plot in and watch it grow, and then watch the deer come to it. He says, that's the best season.
It's a lot of fun.
Yeah.
It really is a lot of fun. You get to...
There's some work to it. I mean, but...
Yeah, but you get to, run equipment, sweat a lot, get dirty.
Enjoy your favorite beverage while you're out.
That's after you get the shower taken care of, because
and,
you're just full of dirt and everything else.
Yeah. It's not just deer hunting or just for deer that you can food plot. You can food plot for turkeys and ducks and geese.
Yeah, I just think about that. A lot of guys, it's very satisfying to spruce up their yard and do stuff like that and work on that. I like doing stuff like that, but it just seems like a repetitive, non-exciting or inventive thing to do, mow the grass, right? And I just think about that, and I think about, setting up food plots and doing things like that and experimenting and recording the information of what's recognized as stuff. That's more fun.
What works and what doesn't work. Yep,
Although I do like to sit on the mower once in a while and just not think.
Yeah.
Just go in straight lines.
Something good about that, too.
It helps. It helps. It definitely helps.
Therapy.
The Outdoor Show is brought to you by Advantage Marine in Zeeland, with competitive prices and personalized service to meet all your needs. Repair, storage, winterizing, parts, and more. Call Advantage Marine in Zeeland at 616-748-9235, or stop in and see Dave at 8755 Riley Street in Zeeland. That's at the corner of 88th and Riley on the northeast side of Zeeland. Lines are open. Give us a call, 395-1450. We'll be back here shortly on The Outdoor Show. Welcome back to The Outdoor Show, brought to you by Michigan Firearms. Michigan Firearms is educating people in the safe and responsible use of firearms since 2001. Michigan Firearms offers education, training, and supply the best you can find anywhere. Classes are offered regularly. Class sizes are limited. Register early to reserve your spot. 616-218-7328. Or find us on your computer at mifirearmsets.com. We're back, ready to talk with you. Give us a call, 395-1450. We're in our last segment for today, and I'm talking to Terry Borman from the Farmers Co-op in Hudsonville. If you missed our conversation about different things with food plotting or with all the equipment and gear and products that are over at the store at 3302 Prospect, you got to get on your computer and go to WHTC.com, check it out under Media, Podcast, scroll it down, click on the Outdoor Show, and pick whatever show you want to listen to. But I can tell you, you should probably listen to today's, just for Terry.
just for me. It's all about me.
Well, when Tim backed out on me, what did I say that on the air?
I don't think so.
That guy. What the heck?
Can we hit the reverse?
I had to make a quick. I had to get messages out, and of course, you came through for me.
Well, good. Yeah, I don't always check my emails, and I picked it up, and it's like, I wonder if it's going to be too late. Hopefully he's not in a panic, but worked out good. So glad to be here.
Well, I don't know that I ever get really panicked.
Okay. All right.
I think some people would like me to get panicked. Hey, if it doesn't work, it doesn't work. Let's try something else.
Start reading.
So, anyhow, we talked all about these things to plant.
Yep.
But we didn't talk about how to get them planted.
Right. Yeah. This is the time of year where you got to either you're ready to plant or you got to start thinking about planting, depending a little bit on where you're at, the region. But first thing to do is soil test. Make sure your soil is ready to go.
Oh, yeah, I keep forgetting about the soil test.
Yep. So get me some dirt from underneath the root zones, wherever you're at. Kind of put it all together and bring it down to the co-op. Get it tested. See where your pH is, because if the pH is off, the fertilizer won't release properly, and then you're going to do a lot of planting. And your plants need pH, so 6 to 7 is a nice range for pH. Some will do better, lower, but in your yards the same way. If you're having trouble with your yards, you need to check your pH, see where that's at.
So, okay, below
the root zone.
The root zone.
Yep.
Typically, how deep is that?
Inch and a half, maybe.
So it's really not very deep.
No. Take a shovel and you turn back the soil and just take a tablespoon and dig some out and get me about a cupful from various parts of your yard or your food plot. And
different areas.
Yep.
So how far apart?
Well, that depends on the size of your plot. But yeah, it kind of do like a dice, 5 a dice on the dice, where you 2 on the one, the center one, and then 2 on the other edge.
Okay.
Yeah. Or
I'm just thinking, let's say I have an acre I'm going to plant. Because even if I had 80 acres of property, I'd want to get them to narrow down, right?
Yeah.
Get the deer to come over, because if I'm 80 acres away, it might be a tough shot.
Right. Yeah. So you want to, and if, in a case like that, you're going to say, well, I'm going to put something on the other side that won't be the attractant as much as what's right in front of my stand. So you can do 2 types of plantings. But get me a couple samples. So go out there and come back with a cup of different spots, because you're going to treat it all the same unless you've got different fields that are a half a mile apart. That's different. Then you got to do them for each field.
Right.
So you bring the sample in and we check the pH. Or if you're really having trouble, we can send it up to a lab and they can do a complete testing. That'll give you all the organic matter that's in it and what else you need. Okay. But pH is the most important.
Do I need exactly a cupful?
No.
Okay, because my wife would get very upset with me for taking that out of the drawer and using the measuring cup.
Give me get a Tupperware, or no,
a styrofoam coffee cup?
Hey, styrofoam works, baggie works.
Oh, put some in a baggie. That'll give you, okay. Yep.
Yeah, something like that. You don't have to bring in a pail full. Some people do. Here you go. And I'm going, okay. And you take out a tablespoon or less out of that pail.
And they look at you and go,
I did all that more? For what? Yeah.
Well, okay, so I bring in the cup full, and you do the pH test,
Yep.
and the pH being the acidity or the alkali of the soil.
Yep.
Right?
And don't just assume you need lime. So many people come in, oh, I need lime. Well, have you had to test it? No.
What do you need lime for?
Lime is going to bring the pH up. Sulfur is going to bring it down. If you get it too high and you got to bring it down, it takes a whole lot more work to get it down. So the sulfur is more expensive, and you got to keep putting it on to get that pH back down again. Whereas lime, to bring it up, is cheaper, and you probably don't have to do it as often, depending on where your pH is. So
definitely get it tested ahead of time.
yes. Yep.
It just wouldn't work out very well.
Right.
And
And
end
then
up spending extra time doing stuff that you screwed up.
Yep.
Basically.
Yep. And so test it. Have your design what you want to do. Do you want to do some secure areas with grasses? You get your grasses in now because you want growth on those.
Get the
Tall
grasses in
grasses.
now. So
Yep.
when you say get the grasses in now, so we got, let's stick with that 1 acre idea. I take the 1 acre, I get you the 5 samples, I bring that to you, we get the soil figured out, we know if we have to put the lime on or not.
Yep.
If we have to put lime on, how long before I can put the seed on?
You
for the
can seed
grasses?
right away.
Immediately.
Yep.
Okay, so then we put that in and we're putting those grasses in.
Yep.
Is there anything we want to do
In
a
addition,
month from now? Say?
Well, no, if you've got it all designed out, or if I work with you on a design, we say, okay, we're going to do this as a secure area. We're going to put the grasses here. Okay, what do you want to put on the rest? Because you don't want to come back and fight those weeds a month from now. So we want to put clover, alfalfa, a tetra rye, something in that area.
And those will help to keep the weed
That'll
growth
help
down?
keep the weed down.
Okay.
And then you have what they call the kill plot, might be a smaller one right in front of your stand. Say, okay, in the July, August time frame, you go back and you round up that area. Then you might want to put your brassicas in and your legumes in, which would be your rapes and your turnips and your
Okay,
sugar
so
beets and
the kill plot, the harvest plot.
Yep,
The
harvest
one that
plot.
we're going to get the deer at, or
Right.
or we're going to get the turkey at, or we're going to get the waterfowl at.
Yep.
Where we're thinking about setting up our stand.
right.
And so in July or August?
Late July, you might want to take the Roundup to it and burn it down, as we say. So you're going to kill that area off, and then 7 to 10 days later, you're going to put the seed in there, and that seed pops very quickly. That's the attractant for the fall hunt.
Oh. And so we don't have to bring in the equipment. We're just taking and killing that in a week's time. Then we
Yeah.
drop new seed and
And again, depends on the size. Some guys have quite large one of these. Otherwise, it might be just a rake or a rotor-till, something. Some guys can't get big equipment into their
Right,
plots,
right.
so it's a rotor-till on the back of the ATV, or it's 3 kids on the back of the ATV. It's going out there with a shovel and rake. But,
well, you say big equipment, and I don't. When I picture big equipment, I'm talking about big equipment.
Yeah.
I need a semi to pull it around.
Right.
It's not something I just hook up to the trailer over to co-op. So
Right.
when you say big equipment, I'm thinking big. When you say when I say the small equipment, I'm thinking the stuff that you're talking about. But other people might think it's big equipment
right,
because they're
Right.
used to using a rototiller that they walk behind or whatever.
right.
I'm thinking it's small equipment, what you have, which I think is ideal to fit into a lot of areas.
Right.
But then again, if you can only fit down a footpath to get there, it's going to be kind of tough,
Yep.
So you get that all prepped and you get that planted, and then you come back and you do the stuff in June, July, and August. The best thing that they could do for themselves is come in, get it tested, and sit down with you and figure out the lay of the land,
Right.
right, for what they're
Right.
going to want to plant.
And you can plant seed most anywhere. I mean, if you don't have your own property, even it's a footpath, like you said, you can put seed. Take a rake and you scratch it up, throw the seed out there, and stomp it down.
Yeah.
And you're gonna
Make
get
sure
the
you
growth.
got permission to hunt the land.
Exactly.
And then make sure you have permission to change things by planting.
Yep. And assure them you're just going to enhance the land.
Yeah, there's nothing, you're not putting an invasive species in there.
Right. Yep, exactly. Yeah.
Well, thank you very much, Terry. Appreciate it.
You're welcome.
Thank you all for
Good to be
listening to this week's show, and we will talk to you next week right here on the Outdoor Show.